Hey, welcome back to the Digital Ramble. How are our good friends? This is JJ Cannon, co-host. My good friend Chris Gamble, he should be dialing in hopefully shortly. We'll see if he gets a good, reliable connection. Today, we're talking Season 4, Episode 28, and we're answering your questions. You know, these last couple of shows have just gone through the roof, and we greatly appreciate y'all's views, y'all's comments, y'all's engagement. Please keep it up. We're trying to build this channel. You can find us on Instagram. You can also find us on YouTube. And one of the biggest ways that really people are obtaining our information is through podcasts. And we are on all of the major podcast channels. So please don't forget to take a look there and find us there. And if you be so kind, please share with your friends our content, because we really try to drop some knowledge that can truly benefit you as a homeowner or as a dealer or even a manufacturer on this show. So thank you very much. I'm JJ Cannon, CEO of Digital Delight. Been in business for over 20 years, and it has been an incredible ride for us through technology and providing experiences for our homeowners. And so with that being said, Mr. Mike, let's go head on and get on into it. All right, thank you. And, Mike, one thing that I definitely always like to say is thank you to our Patreons for supporting us. If you'd like to be a Patreon and help support this show, please go over to patreon.com/The Digital Ramble, and for as little as $1 a month, you can help continue the progress of this show and help support us. We are back into asking questions, and a lot of times, it's like, what don't you know? Or it's like, I don't know what I don't know. And so a lot of these questions are built to help you answer those questions. And so, as we were gathering questions over the week, and we greatly appreciate you submitting the questions. One of the biggest questions we were asked is, does the Nest Hello need a power supply? Does it come in the box? And actually the answer is no. Your Nest Hello does not come with a power supply, and it does need to have a power supply. And a power supply usually can be located up in the attic, and your traditional doorbell does come with that power supply. And it's as simple as repurposing that, or you can simply go down to your local fix-it store and pick up a power supply, and your power supplies need to be specific to the appropriate voltage that is required on that Nest Hello. Next question, Mr. Mike. Why does my new 4K Apple TV keep blinking the image on the screen? Have you ever seen that happen? No? Yeah, we get a lot of calls for that. And what we've seen is that, out of the box, the Apple TVs, they'll go ahead and start emitting a 4K resolution. 4K is twice the amount of picture being viewed on your screen than what you would get on a 1080p picture television. And whenever a device is trying to put twice as much information on the screen than what that screen can handle, sometimes could cause that screen to blink in and out, or even give you this pink hue screen that can sometimes be frustrating. So there's two things you can do. One that we found is you can switch between inputs and go back, and actually there's three things that you can do. You can switch between inputs and go back and forth, and sometimes it'll sync it incorrectly. You can also go into your Apple TV resolution settings and dial it down to more of a 720p, because they don't have an 1080i, 720i option on their new Apple televisions. Or you can go ahead and upgrade that television, which I think a lot of people like to hear. What? I have a reason to upgrade my TV? Yes, you do. And upgrading to a higher resolution television, you'll be able to see a picture improvement almost instantly. So that's what we got for that second question. Question number 3, and I'm running through these kind of quickly. I wish I could slow it down a little bit. Let me see here, Mike. And I'm talking to Mike, my producer, off screen here, just so that I have somebody to correspond with. And third question: can I view my Nest cameras on my TV in the house? And yes, you absolutely can view your Nest cameras on your televisions throughout the house. Traditionally, we used to have to use like a matrix, and a matrix is something that allows you to distribute pictures. So it's a box that allows you to plug your cable or your Apple TV or even your surveillance cameras into it, and then from that box, then you could distribute it to all your televisions in your house. But with new devices coming online, you can add a simple like Chromecast, or you can also have like a Google Hub that might be in the kitchen as well, and call up via voice and actually view your cameras online. So you could say something as simple as, "Okay, Google, show me my front door camera," and automatically on your television, your front door camera will appear. Pretty cool, pretty simple. There is a little bit of programming associated with that. Those types of features, you can try to do it yourself, and a lot of our listeners do try to apply these solutions on their own, and sometimes you get frustrated doing it. Sometimes you give up. If that's the case, there are an immense amount of talent in our industry. There is an installation industry out there for smart home technology services. Just do a little Google search. Take a look at the reviews on there and see what kind of history that they might have with their past clients. Also, give them a ring and just ask them a couple of questions about the type of solutions that they are accustomed to providing. Like I was saying, there is a large industry of installers out there that are very well versed in doing highly engineered systems, as well as some of these systems that are a little bit more user-friendly. But although they're, quote, user-friendly, sometimes you need some professional assistance to get them all to work together. We had this one question here from Daniel, and it says, "I want to make my old TV smart. Can I do that? What video streaming devices do you recommend?" And, Daniel, the answer is yeah. You absolutely can take a flat panel television that might not necessarily have streaming services built into it and make it smart. The product that we prefer to use is a Roku stick. Roku allows all streaming services on its platform. And so if you are into, obviously, Netflix or Amazon Prime or YouTube TV, it's open to allow you to download all those different types of streaming services that you can view. There are other products out there that you can use, as far as like an Apple TV, like we talked about earlier, that gives you really good high resolutions, and so do the Rokus. You can get a Roku in a 4K as well. And Apple TV, you can use all those streaming services, but some platforms don't play nice with other platforms, in the sense of like Apple does not necessarily play nice with Amazon. Amazon also has a Fire Stick, and that Fire Stick's pretty cool. It has voice control built into the actual stick itself. And actually, whenever I'm talking through this, Mike, all three of these services actually have voice built into it, to make it really easy to access, content, or search for content, or find content. And the Fire Stick, it has its Amazon Prime available, but you might not be able to get some of the other streaming services that you might be able to find on your Apple TV or on a Roku device. And so, yeah, the old television, turn it into a smart TV, you absolutely can do it. And you can either plug it into the side with a little HDMI stick, or you can get like a little box that can go down into your cabinet for that. This is a cool one. This is one of Chris's questions that he received. Can I add a wireless chime to my Nest Hello? And yes, you may. What you need to do is integrate that with a Google Mini or even a Google Home Hub. And so if somebody pushes that Nest Hello button at your front door for your doorbell, it will then say front door. It'll say whatever you want it to say. It'll do a ding dong, or it'll say somebody's at your front door. Or if you have one at the back door, you can get it to say somebody is at your back door. And you can do that through a Google Mini that you can place strategically in a hidden location throughout your house. Or you can also do the Home Hub that has a display on it so you can actually visually see who is at the front door on that hub. And man, I ran through these questions super quick, and this is going to be a quick episode, but I think that's all right. I think we're all right on that today. Last question. I want to add speakers downstairs, but I don't have any wires ran. What can I do about that? And so for us, that's one of the reasons people have really, truly embraced wireless speaker technology. You don't necessarily have to have wires ran, or speaker wires in particular ran to those alternative rooms. In the past, it was quite a big endeavor, quite a big investment for the homeowners, quite a big endeavor for home technology professionals like myself and like Chris to try to find a path to get those wires ran in a concealed way, to where you do the least amount of sheetrock repair as possible. But with wireless speakers, and Sonos definitely is the leader in that, you can now, as long as you have good Wi-Fi connected throughout your entire home, you can easily set up a wireless speaker, connect it to the Wi-Fi in your home, and now you can enjoy podcasts or streaming music throughout your entire home. You can also add those wireless speakers. Like a big one for us is like that office, and somebody wants to have music in their office, and their office was not wired for audio, and so we'll put a wireless speaker into that office for them, and now they can stream their music that they like through their office, through that speaker that they set either on their desk or up on the shelf. You can get them in black, you can get them in white, you can get them in a variety of different sizes, just depending on the size of that room. And so that's a quick run through on 6 questions that we received over this past week, and I appreciate everybody submitting these questions. And next week we're going to do the same thing. This Q&A we've seen to have a huge lift in our view count as well as in our engagement. So please, if you be so kind, just drop a comment down below to Chris and I and ask us a question, or you can hit us on the DM on our Instagram as well, where you can find us at digital_ramble. Now last week we had Gamble Ramble, and this week we're going to do some cannon fire. So Mike, if you would please do the honors. All right, thank you very much. And so this week we're talking about Silo, and I don't know if anybody follows Digital Delight socially, but we do a lot of hashtag Silo, SYLO, and Silo stands for System Local, and it's something that we came up with about 4 years ago. We saw a lot of pain amongst our community of clients, to where we were engineering these highly sophisticated systems with distributed audio amps as well as matrices, and it was all contained in a rack, and this rack would get really hot. Not only that, the racks were very, very expensive as a whole, in the sense it was like sticking a sports car in your closet. I mean, some racks, one rack could run a client $60,000. Some clients have 2 to 3, just depending on the size of their home and what they're trying to accomplish. So we came up with this idea of System Local. And the idea is less is more. The less wires that you have, the more reliability that you have. It's affordable, it's minimalistic, it's easy to use. And I don't know if you're familiar with a rack, but sometimes after a year or two, you have that cable company come in there and start, have to swap out a modem or swap out a cable box, and that cable box might live in that rack as well. And it never fails, regardless of how nice an integration firm might try to make that wrap where all the wires are nice and labeled and in place and aligned with purpose. It never fails that one of these contractors will come in there and just make a wire mess. It turns into like a nest a nest of wires, and it's super frustrating to the homeowner, because they would look at us as an integrator and say, this is an issue that you have provided us with, and it never seems to function. And so we Digital Delight kind of went away from that, and we're doing Silo. And Silo is system local, where these devices are small enough to where they all can live local at each location. So give you an example, that matrix I was telling you about earlier that lives in a rack that all your cable boxes plug into, and maybe a Blu-ray player plugs into it, or an Apple TV plugs into it. We had a situation to where those resolutions changed, and we were getting blinking on televisions throughout the house because the cable company came in and swapped out that cable box or swapped out that satellite box. And those satellite boxes are only putting out a higher resolution than what that matrix might have been built for at the time. And at the time, that was the best piece of equipment that you could buy. But as the resolution shifted, that box stayed the same, and you can't update the software in the box to make it the higher resolution. And so the pain came because the clients wanted the higher resolution, but in order to do the higher resolution, they had to change out the matrix as well as the labor associated with it, and it costs a lot for a matrix. I mean, a matrix, depending on what kind of matrix you're looking at, can start at $3,000, and depending on how many rooms you're looking at doing, could do endless, but $3,000 is probably a pretty good base start jump off point for getting in your house. And so doing away with that matrix relieved a lot of that pain that the clients were having, and the pain that me as a business owner was having, because I no longer had to tell the client, oh, by the way, that investment that you just paid, X amount of dollars for 2 years ago is obsolete because technology has moved forward, and if you want to keep up with it, you got to upgrade that box. Just trying to explain that to a client and tell them that now they get to invest another minimum $3,000 plus the labor associated to do it, as well as the time it takes to take the old one out, put the new one in, and then manage that whole wire nest, because it never fails. It's always a wire's nest. 2 or 3 years later, we alleviated that problem. The other problem is if that matrix might have failed, whether it's a video matrix or an audio matrix, if it failed, all of your TVs would not work. With siloing, it's system local. So if you happen to have a problem on one television, you can go to another television because it's not connected to a central location that feeds everything throughout your house. So it makes it super easy, much more reliable, crazy affordable in comparison. And then if you happen to have a big expensive box fail and you wanted to get it repaired because maybe the standards were still available in the sense of like the resolution was right, the whole unit has to be shipped off for repair. Repair traditionally in our industry might last about 3 to 4 weeks. That means that how your system traditionally is designed and supposed to work is not working for 3 to 4 weeks until you get it back. That's painful. That's painful. And then once it gets back, it takes some time to put that bad boy back in. And again, it's cost of doing business. For siloing, if you happen to have a bad device, literally you swap it out same day, you're back up and running, and you're not backed up into a corner trying to tell a client that it's going to cost you an extra X amount of thousands of dollars to get that thing fixed. And so that's what I got for Silo. That's why Digital Delight switched over to Silo, because of minimalistic affordability, easy to use, less pain associated with the homeowner, less pain for Digital Delight as a business. And we're really starting to see it catch on throughout our industry as people are starting to understand how to design a system Silo style. So that's what I got for us today on Silo. Thank you, Mr. Mike. Well, guys, I mean, it's a short show today. Normally we put in a good 30 minutes. I sure do miss my good co-host, my good friend, Mr. Live Install, Chris Gamble over there in the UK, but he got tied up today, and that's all right. No problems there. But I want to encourage everybody to please check out the Digital Ramble. You can find us, obviously, here on Facebook. You can find us on YouTube. Go ahead, bring it on up, Mike. You can find us on Instagram. And again, if you don't have time to watch, please check us out on podcasts. We're all over the main podcast channels. There's like 11, 12 of them. It's ridiculous. So thank you, friends. And until next time, y'all have a fantastic week. Every month, the Digital Ramble will receive a regular source of income from supporters who've pledged through Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, having your ongoing support means we spend less time thinking about business and more time creating quality content for you.
Customized, based in Norfolk, England, are proud sponsors of the Digital Ramble. Check out our all setup services. It's smart home installation with ease. Customize.uk.com.
If you're looking to make your basic home smart, check out digitaldelight.com/shop, where they have a variety of different smart home technology solutions that help make smart home shopping easy for you. Check out digitaldelight.com/shop.